Breaking news in our big story. The city of Rochester Hills says its water is safe. New tests show no mercury has been found, according to city officials. A science experiment at Van Hoosen Middle School yesterday showed high levels. The discovery forced the closure of that building and also Rochester Adams High School.
Those first test results showed mercury levels at 56 parts per billion. That's 28 times higher than the maximum contaminant amount allowed by the EPA. But now scientists say those results were flawed. 7 Action News reporter Jennifer Ann Wilson is live in Rochester Hills, where a press conference just wrapped up. Jennifer, what are they saying?
Well, just like you said, they tested that water once again and found just very small traces of mercury, 10 times lower than the legally accepted limit. They said specifically they took 8 water samples, 5 from Van Hoosen, the middle school, 3 from the high school, and that at the middle school they did include samples from the science lab where those original samples were taken and sent off to Arizona. They said that they did the testing in triplicate, meaning they ultimately performed nearly 100 tests with all of those water samples, and at the end of it all, they said they only detected mercury 10 times lower than the legally acceptable limit. So the water is safe to drink, they have declared. Now, we asked quite a few questions in this press conference. How in the world could 2 tests be so vastly different? I spoke with the head of the department over at ASU, and he says this started off just as a fun experience for kids so they could see the difference between creek water and water from the tap. He never expected it to turn into something like this. He says they are a professional water testing facility. Though not certified for drinking water, they do test water samples from around the world, primarily for sewage and groundwater. Drinking water testing, though, according to the expert from Paragon, Jeffrey Raymond, he says that drinking water testing is very different. They have different approaches and different ways of testing, and they can be a lot more specific. So he said he's very confident in his levels and his test results that say the water is safe. Despite that, the city and the superintendent are going to be taking samples over the next 10 days at both schools and continue testing just to make sure that there is no fluke. But in the meantime, both schools will be open and class will be in session tomorrow. Now, this incident, of course, has raised a lot of concern. I've actually had a number of people coming up to me in the live truck saying, hey, you're with Channel 7. Can you tell me, should I be concerned about mercury in my water? And between lead and mercury, I think we're all a little on edge. Everything that we've seen happen in Flint. And these are things that we know we have our own reporters on right now looking for the best ways to make sure your water is safe. Reporting live here in Rochester Hills, I'm Jennifer Ann Wilson.
Thank you, Jennifer Ann. The tests were done. Good thing they looked into it, and things are all clear.
All right, Mayor Brian Barnett of the city of Rochester Hills on the phone with us now. Mayor, certainly this is good news that there is no issue with your water, and particularly at those 2 school buildings.
No, we're very grateful for the results. We took those initial results very seriously. We leapt into action. Drove our own samples, certified samples, down to a certified lab, and wanted to make it and did make it the utmost priority over the last 36 hours, and are very happy that the results are really certified clear.
Mr. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about what the students and possibly that teacher thought they saw? Because you can imagine when those results came back and nerves are up and oh my goodness sets in.
Well, I can't imagine that they could have ever thought that their experiment would have gained this much attention. But obviously, as you mentioned at the top of the broadcast, our collective attention is tuned into water quality in Southeast Michigan, and so anytime you get any sort of results that look or could possibly be contaminated, you need to thoroughly investigate those, and that's what we did. We brought in experts. We paid to get the results back as quickly as possible, and again are very glad to be able to tell our residents that that drinking water has been and continues to be safe for their usage.
And again, to reiterate, the schools that have been closed, half day yesterday, full day today, those 2 buildings, Van Hoosen, Adams, will be open again tomorrow for students.
That's correct, and we want to thank Oakland University for their partnership in housing the students today. And really, in times of crisis, it's great to have partners, and the City of Rochester Hills is grateful for Oakland and for the Rochester Community Schools. I think we handled this potential crisis fairly well.
All right, Mayor, thank you so much. Mayor Brian Barnett joining us on the phone after these test results. The second test, the certified tests results are now known. We appreciate your time today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're glad that the all clear came through. But if you have any questions about how to keep your family safe, Amira David joins us now live with more on filtration systems and what we can do at home. Amira.
That's right. It's a real concern. We want to know that the water we're drinking is safe. And I spoke to an expert not that long ago who basically tests the filters that detect what contaminants are in the water. And he says, look, there's no one-stop shop, no one fix that can get rid of everything. But if you do your homework, you can substantially improve the quality of your water. It's an unsettling feeling thinking mercury or other potentially harmful contaminants are lurking in the water we drink. So we wanted to know, how do we find out what's flowing through our tap and how can we best treat it? We took those questions to NSF International, a public health organization that does its own filtration testing.
There's not one silver bullet out there that's going to take care of every problem.
Water treatment expert Rick Andrews says, bottom line, you've got to know what contaminants are high before you buy.
They really can have very different capabilities, and so it's important to understand what's in the water before you embark on a treatment solution.
So to do that, NSF says you should request a water quality report from your local water authority or get an in-home test kit that gives a more tailored look at what your family could be ingesting. From there, assess the options. A home purification system, faucet, or refrigerator filter are some of the possibilities.
It really can be overwhelming and intimidating.
But Andrew says it's important not to downplay the problem. For example, some rely on boiling water to kill all contaminants. But experts tell us in the case of mercury, it could actually cause the release of it into the air and then increase the chance that a more toxic form contaminates what you drink. NSF recommends using their website to check to see if a product is certified. Simply select the kind of filter, the contaminant you want to remove, and get a full list of the brands that have been tested and approved. And if you're still feeling overwhelmed by how exactly to navigate this, how to choose what the best water filter for you will be, the good news, NSF International actually has a hotline open during business hours where an environmental scientist is staffed there, ready and willing to answer all of your questions. And we're going to post the number to that along with the website for NSF International on our website, WXYZ.com. For now, Amira David, 7 Action News.
Amira, thank you. Important information there as well. And don't forget to weigh in on what you think our big story should be tomorrow morning. Join our morning meeting live through Facebook at 10 a.m. and vote on which story you want us to cover.